Welcome to SobelCo Insights. In this session, we'll be discussing retirement plan contribution limitations. Hi, my name is Brad Muniz. I'm the partner in charge of the assurance practice at SobelCo. With me today is Meghan Cuozzo, an accountant in SobelCo's assurance practice. And before we get started with the questions here, I want to make sure everybody understands we're not financial advisors, we're not financial planners. If people need information like that, they should be reaching out to their own financial advisor, financial planner. If they don't have one, we'll be more than happy to hook you up with one. Okay, so I know that regularly these retirement plan contributions are adjusted, and clients will call up and say, you know, what is the amount for this year? And I'll look back at a book of 2018 and realize that that's not accurate. What are the reasons that they come up with these adjustments to the contribution limitations?
Sure, thanks, Brad. So each year, the Internal Revenue Code provides limitations, benefits, and contributions for qualified retirement plans. And these limitations are adjusted on an annual basis under Section 415D, and they go along with the cost of living. So with inflation being high, they adjust accordingly.
Yeah, and I noticed, I think it was 2019 and 20, I probably have the years wrong. Somebody, Liz Harper, who's in charge of employee benefit practice, is going to call me up and say, you said the wrong number that year, so don't quote me on the number. Meghan will probably have more information than that. I remember those 2 years, they were exactly the same, and probably because inflation was, I don't want to say flat, but it wasn't enormous. So we have significant inflation going right now. It's not a political comment, but we do have larger inflation. There was an increase this year, and I imagine it'll probably be an increase next year. I don't expect you to know what's going to happen next year. If you know what's going to happen next year, we're going to go to the track and we're going to...
No, I'd have to look into that one.
Yeah, exactly. So what are some of the new annual limitations that employees participating in plans should be aware of then?
Sure. So employees participating in 401k plans, 403b plans, majority of 457 plans, and the thrift savings plan, their annual limitation is going to bump up to $22,500. Now that's an increase from 2022, where the limit was set at $20,500. In addition, for employees that are eligible to make catch-up contributions, that limit is set to $7,500. So these individuals that are 50 and up can contribute up to $30,000 annually starting in 2023.
It's a significant change. Significant change from just a few years ago even.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said, it's going from $20,500 to $22,500, I guess, which indicates the impact of inflation and everything. And then us older people, you pointed that out, thanks.
No.
You told everybody, Brad, this pertains to you. Listen here, Brad. So then it's going up to $7,500.
Yep.
Okay.
And then I also want to mention, for those individuals participating in defined contribution plans, that's also going up. So the limit's going to bump up to $66,000 annually. And then for those 50 and up, it's going to be $73,000 starting in 2023.
That's defined benefit, that's the total salary, is that defined benefit or defined contribution?
Defined contribution.
Defined contribution, that's
Yes.
their salary limits?
Yes.
Oh, okay, all right, so we have the contribution limits is increasing, and then the salary that it relates to, if you're making contribution based off of your salary, that salary component actually increases too.
Right.
So those are things that people need to be aware of. First is that you have the contribution adjustments of the max that you can give to, but also the salary level that it's adjusted to. And I'm sure I'm going to have other questions. I'm sure you're going to possibly have. If not, I'm going to go back to it later on. I've got some side questions here I'm going to trick you on.
Okay.
So now we talked about defined contributions. There's a difference between defined contribution and defined benefit plans. We're not going to get into that in this discussion today. I'm not going to try and hit you with that difference. We can go on for probably a couple hours on that.
Sure.
But I just want to emphasize for people, what we're talking about is 401ks, 403bs, did you say 457?
Yep. And thrift savings.
Thrift savings, those are common defined contribution plans.
Mm-hmm.
Defined benefit plans are different, but we're mostly talking about those which a lot of people experience. Another type of contributions that people can make are IRAs, individual retirement accounts.
Sure.
Will any of the changes that we're talking about or that have come out affect IRAs also, or does this affect IRAs?
They will. So starting January 1, 2023, those with IRAs will be able to contribute up to $6,500, which is a $500 increase from 2022. In addition to that, you're also going to see an increase in the eligibility requirements, which is based off of your income range
Right.
and obviously your tax filing status. And on top of that, we're also going to see changes for the phase-out range. So that's going to change, and that will determine whether or not employees are excluded from making these contributions.
Now, you just gave an answer that I'm going to tape, or we were taping, but I'm going to record that, and every time a client calls me up and says, I
You're
want
just
to
gonna
contribute
replay it.
to my IRA, what people need to understand is that if you contribute to you can contribute to an IRA if you have no other retirement options available,
Sure.
depending upon income limitations. If you contribute to a defined contribution plan, there might be limitations if you can contribute to an IRA. I want to make sure people understand that. You know, people call me up, I made $1 million this year and I want to take advantage of the IRA, and more than likely you'd be over. I'm not asking you for those thresholds, because even I and the tax department have to go to the book to remember what they are. But the important thing of what you're saying is that the overall contribution, assuming no other limitations for an IRA, is $6,500.
Right.
That's going to be $6,500. That's for 2023.
2023.
Right. Now, people who are in 2022, remember to make your 2022 contributions if you can, and that you can do till April 15th or the filing of the return. So, okay, you mentioned, I was going to ask, is there a limit on annual compensation affected by the 23 changes? And that's where you were saying that, I guess unless there's more, is that the annual compensation limitations just be increasing.
Right, so that will be changing in 2023. Under section 401A17, it's going to be bumped up to $330,000, which is actually a $25,000 increase from last year,
Okay.
or 2022, I should say.
I don't know how you have these codes all down. I'm absolutely impressed with that. So we talked a lot about the employees, and it's important if people should or should not take advantage of their 401k. Again, if you have a financial advisor, they should be talking to their financial advisor and be making those decisions if they should be contributing to an IRA, a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA. We're not giving any recommendations on that. That's the decision that people have to make on their own.
Right.
Right. But we're talking about employees or individuals. Will any of these affect the employers at all?
Yes, so I'm glad you asked. For 2023, for plans that do matching contributions, employee and employer contributions combined cannot exceed the lesser of either 100% of the employee's compensation or $66,000. So that's important for employers to keep in mind going into 2023.
So going back now to my second question, where you said that the compensation limit went up to $66,000. This also is in line with it, because you just said that the combination of employer and employee contributions cannot exceed $66,000,
Right.
Or 100%, the lesser of $66,000, or 100% of compensation,
Right.
which is the $66,000 at that end. But if somebody makes $143,231, don't know where that came from, they'd be limited to $66,000.
Right.
If they made $40,000, they'd be limited to the $40,000. Also, it depends on the plan too.
Sure.
You work on a lot of the financial statements. I read the financial statement. It says right in the financial statements, the contribution limits or contributions is based on X% of employee compensation. So the plan may not allow 100% of compensation.
Right.
If the plan does, it goes back, ties in with the $66,000. If the plan goes only up to 90, 80%, it could work in with that too. So the people out there, we're not going to be able to give you the direction with this or a recommendation. You should know their plan,
Right.
their underlying plan itself. They need to know their own lifestyle requirements and needs. But what's important to them to know is the limitations of what's available to them.
Definitely.
Okay, great. That was pretty easy then.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching SobelCo Insights. Please visit our YouTube channel for additional videos.